Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we got a fun one. We are going to preview the ADCC 2021 East Coast Trials. We are going to recap Fight to Win, Elisabeth Clay versus Thamara Ferriera. We are going to recap Cage Fury, their second event, headlined by Kevin Dantzler and Merab Davishvili, and we are going to preview the IBJJF GP, I think it's middleweight GP this year. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, to my co-host,
Miranda.
Hey, Miranda.
Pretty good. How are you?
Exhausted. It's been a big week. We have a new camera for the podcast that was very, very expensive. So hopefully that footage looks good, and hopefully the camera actually records. So.
And it's Halloween.
It is
Halloween.
Halloween.
I'm in my wonderful robes.
Miranda's in a Gryffindor robe. I'm wearing glasses because that's about as Halloween-y as I get.
You have a skull shirt.
I do have a skull shirt on,
yes.
Rob.
Yeah.
So we have no news this week aside from ADCC Trials is a-coming, and I'm very excited. We have our hotels booked. I bought a $1,000, actually more like $1,100 camera to go do it. So I'm super excited to go up for trials. That's going to be most of the show. We're also going to talk about ADCC rules and ADCC Trials rules because it's such a big event.
And it's a different set of rules that we're used to.
It's a very different set of rules.
Even the way the point system works is a lot different than
much different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes,
if you don't know, Mo Jassim and the ADCC team released a rules seminar video this week. And it's on YouTube. If you're curious about ADCC after listening to the podcast, you should listen to it. It's very insightful, and it gives you some more context.
It also glosses over a lot.
It does.
It's a lot of information to comprehend.
And Miranda and I are both registered for the rules seminar happening this Friday in Atlantic City.
Yep.
Paid a registration fee. We're going up early to attend that so that, again, I can make sure
we can have wonderful
cover it.
certificates and take pictures.
Really? We get
a certificate.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
People in the past have always gotten
$100.
certificates and took pictures, which show that we can be an actual ADCC ref.
I wouldn't go that far. People who've listened to me long enough on the show, they know I wouldn't go. I do ref for a good fight.
Mo says that after this course, we are certified to ref.
I would look. We probably are. Again, I also think
it'd be interesting
if you're going. You talked about this earlier today when we trained. If you go to the ADCC referees rules course, you probably are not doing that, especially because it's $100 seminar fee. Yeah. You're probably not going on a whim.
I'd probably be nervous as hell to be a ref.
Yeah, I'd be nervous. I was nervous.
Especially they put my ass with freaking the heavyweight bracket.
Hey, we're gonna throw you a Nicky Rod Muhammad Ali rematch. You're up
plus 99. Okay. There goes Miranda, and I'm up to their freaking waist.
What are you at? What are you at? 135, 140?
Yeah.
So,
140. I need to get down to 25, but that's a whole nother ball game to go into.
Cutting weight
I'm gonna try to get down, and I've been down in the past.
So,
not the easiest for me.
No. Let's talk about, we have one news section this week. Yep. We finally have the full lineup for the IBJJF middleweight GP. We have four names.
4 people.
4 people, which the IBJJF middleweight, the IBJJF heavyweight
for 20K,
and middleweight GP is always
to have 4 people for 20K.
Yeah, it's always a weird event.
Yeah.
It's always done at Masters Worlds. And it always has a giant break in the matches.
And I think they have it at the convention this year because they have Masters Worlds and then they have the convention.
Yeah, they had it Jiu-Jitsu Con. They had it 2 years ago. It was at that.
Because I was thinking about doing Master Worlds and then doing Con because you could do both. You could compete at both in theory.
Yeah.
As long as your bracket times are.
Well, they used to do the Jiu-Jitsu Con. So what we're talking about is IBJJF runs Masters Worlds. It is one of the biggest events in the world that they run. They run it in Vegas.
And if you're old, it's great because you'll have a bracket of 10 people.
And you get to go to Vegas for the week and compete. And so what they do. They used to run that. They also used to run the Vegas Open the same weekend as that. They've sort of morphed the Vegas Open into Jiu-Jitsu Con. They've run Jiu-Jitsu Con for a couple years.
Too, going at the same time.
Basically,
they had a white belt tournament too. When I think about it,
you can make it a whole family event to have everyone go out and if you're an adult, you can compete at the Vegas Open. If you're a Masters, you can go Masters World. If you're a kid, you have a kids event. There's a white belt event.
Or at least because Master Worlds is also gi only.
Yeah,
so that you could go and do no gi at Jiu-Jitsu Con.
Yeah.
I believe. Yep.
It's basically hey, you want to do IBJJF, you want to go out to Vegas for the week, here it is. It's cool. It's a cool event. But
it's a lot of money, but hey, it makes sense that way.
I'll probably do it next year. Honestly, we've talked about it for years. Yeah. We're going to do it this following year.
We should all do it as a group. It'd be fun.
That's what we talk about. So we have 4 names. We have Ocasio Souza taking on Andy Murasaki in the first round. And on the other side of the bracket, we have Tainan taking on Hanato Kunito. Kunito was the last person announced for this. Okay. It is in the gi. It is for $20. Interesting names
$20.
here. Sorry, $20. That's what kind of week it's been right now. It is for $20,000.
Yes. $20.
$20.
That'd be awesome.
I kind of forecast to see Andy Murasaki and Tainan in the finals here. Again,
You think
Kunito's
so?
very, very crafty, but I think that Dow Pro will just sort of be able to slow Kunito down.
Yeah.
And kind of the same thing for Murasaki. I think Murasaki will be able to slow Souza down
Yeah.
and play a game. Again, I can see
I think
this going
yeah,
either way
I think
there.
Hanato also in the gi, he's a little. He gets slowed down a little bit more, I
Yeah.
think, than his no-gi game.
Yeah,
And his no-gi game,
the
there's
flying armbar.
yeah, there's a
on
lot of.
Jake
I mean, he
Shields
does
last
a lot of explosive behavior, and it's
Yeah.
a little more difficult to be explosive.
His
in
guys
gi.
can grip up on you. So
Yeah.
that is the 2021 IBJJF GP, 20 grand. We're going to cover it in, I think, was it 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks.
November 13th.
It's the weekend after.
So we'll cover
trials.
that after November 13th. A sideline. We are not going to cover Submission Underground tonight because we are recording the show at 6 p.m. and the event has just started. So we will conclude recording before that event finishes. We may briefly touch on it during our first recap of day one for ADCC East Coast Trials.
Yep.
We're going to probably do a show on probably Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
We may do one Friday. But I doubt it. Just after the rules seminar, I doubt it in case, I don't think there's enough content there to warrant an extra show. But we're definitely going to do one on Saturday evening.
And it depends on how late the matches go into Saturday. 'Cause
Yeah.
who knows how long that's going to be.
I assume it's going to be a solid 12 to 15 hours
Yeah.
day. I mean, weigh-ins
Starts at 10.
Yeah, weigh-ins start at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. for 66 and 77.
Yeah, and then up to 9 a.m. is the latest for heavyweights. I think was when it starts. When weigh-ins
Is when-
finish. Or
yeah.
Start. Weigh-ins start.
9 start because they said I think 10 was a rules meeting.
Yeah.
Or I'm completely wrong with this.
But it's a very early morning for a lot of folks.
It's going to be early morning. I mean, everybody needs to get weighed in, and that's what 800 people trying to get 742.
Yeah,
43,
something like that.
trying to get weighed in.
Yeah,
which
and everyone has to weigh in. Doesn't matter if you're a
Yeah.
heavyweight. They still have.
at least
you
they're
still
not
have
making
to
you
weigh
weigh in every day.
There's only a single day weigh-in?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
only
really?
single day
Okay.
weigh-in. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
'cause
didn't
trials
see
is-
anything. I didn't see anything say that they had to weigh in on Sunday.
Okay, yeah. For
So-
the big world championship, you have to weigh in both days.
Yeah.
But for
They have to you had to weigh in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
you weigh in day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
yeah.
is ridiculous.
But they wanna make sure you're on
but
weight.
Yeah, you got to be on weight.
You got to be that.
Get your
weight
shit together.
to win. So that does it for news. Again, most of this episode is going to be talking about ADCC,
Yeah.
ADC's trials, rules.
And rules.
This is a big lead up to an event we are very excited for. So let's move into the recap section. We want to start with Cage Fury or Elisabeth Clay on Fight to Win.
We'll do Elisabeth Clay on Fight to Win.
So Elisabeth, onto our recap of we're really just going to cover this main event match. Elisabeth Clay took on give me her name again.
Faheda.
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 I keep butchering her first name. And we've seen Faheda before. I don't remember the last time that we've covered her, but I would think maybe it might have been a BJJ Bet event, actually, or BJJ Stars event down in Brazil. And I was very, very impressed with her game. She put up a lot of sub offense. And again, I left very impressed with her performance. In this one, Elisabeth Clay immediately pulls Butterfly. And
BJJ Stars.
was it 4?
She lost to Bia on BJJ Stars 5.
I was really impressed with her match
on
on
4, she
that.
lost against Bia.
Okay.
So she went against her twice in a row. So I don't know. But
So you're competing with Bia.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Bia's...
Top of the heap at the heavyweight
definitely.
divisions, and definitely.
Yeah.
So Clay comes out not in the Butterfly.
Yeah.
They kind of stand and
They
play,
stand,
play
but
up
then
and down game.
she sits for a while.
And then we'll continue to come forward off the Butterfly, and
Yeah, she does
Faheda
the
just
little
continues to sort of
forward
look to
walk.
pass, but never.
She doesn't really look to pass. She kind of... It's almost like she keeps on backing up. It's a lot of backing up. Maybe
Yeah.
she's looking for something specifically to happen.
So she's looking for an
Yeah.
opening from Clay.
She's
is what I
looking
thought
for
she was
a
looking
specific, but she's not hand fighting.
No.
She's not even engaging.
She's forcing Clay to kind of butt scoot
towards
towards
her, which is a weird thing. If you in jiu-jitsu learning
especially on Fight to Win.
the forward butt scoot is a weird thing to learn. I had to learn it on the fly once. It was freaking horrible. Anyway, I don't butt scoot. Anyway, yeah, it was a lot of that until the final exchange.
Yeah, really, Clay starts to enter into a ankle lock.
Yeah.
That Faheda counters. They sort of start to go off the stage,
Yeah.
but Faheda and Clay are kind of make an effort to get their
Yeah.
knees inside. They start to roll to the other side.
Yeah.
Clay locks up a toe hold, but she's a little high on the grip.
Yeah.
And then the camera cuts, and you look
Yeah.
at Faheda's toe hold,
And
and
she grabs the knee, pulls the knee in,
It
and then
looked
starts
like-
going after. Her foot was in a direction that it made me
it
cringe.
looked like shades of Hamlo Bahal and Patrick Gaudio
Ooh.
in that Worlds match where
Yeah.
Bahal's foot just got dislocated.
And then
they-
you look at the picture.
and then you look at Gaudio just looking at the foot like I did that.
yeah.
It was looked like Clay's foot was turned toes sideways, not touching the heel, but like
No,
it was
but
bending in a way that is uncommon to see.
Yeah, it was not a good foot thing.
Super deep. And Clay posted that she had a previous injury that she hadn't dealt with properly, and then you saw in conjunction with just the depth of the toe hold that Ferreira put on her. And Clay is forced to tap. She's fighting her own toe hold, but Ferreira gets it done. And I think we'll very shortly see Ferreira fight for the title here at Fight to Win. Yeah. Again, Clay is one of the top-ranked women in Fight to Win.
And that's a good win. That's a solid win.
It's a submission win over Clay and a leg lock submission win over Clay, who we've seen Clay versus, who I'm thinking of, the Atos black belt.
The
Montero, Luisa Montero, and versus Maria Miliasic, in the recent times on Fight to Win. I think that it puts Ferreira definitely in the front runner seat for a title shot in the near future. It's a good win. It was cool to see someone shoot out the legs with Clay and get on top, because that's rare.
And most of the time they don't have the ability to pull anything by the time that she pulls it on you.
Yeah. So it was cool. Let's move on to how would I call it, CFFC? So because Cage Fury is the Friday night event and CFFC is the Saturday night event, and they do them back to back. So they do them because it's easier, I guess, to get the spot for 2 days in a row. Yeah,
and
the
it's
2300 arena.
Yeah, and it's the same people in theory. Handling everything, so that's why you're confusing.
So we've covered Cage Fury before. We covered their inaugural event that it was headlined by Danielle Kelly. This time she's on the co-main event. Cage Fury 2 is what it was. Is the grappling event that CFFC runs. If you're familiar in the East Coast here, you've seen CFFC. If you're in the Philly area, you've probably been to their shows. I've been to their shows. We've had people fight on their shows. It's great.
It's a good event.
It's a fun event.
And they put on a very decent or a very good local jiu-jitsu.
Very.
I mean, kind of like Fight to Win, but more East Coast. I mean,
you're East Coast centric.
I mean, besides the main event, Marab.
They're New York guys.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a huge,
Well, and CM Punk is their commentator.
I know. And in the post-fight interview, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with the Kevin Dantzler match? You want to start with
we can start with Dantzler.
Okay, let's start with Dantzler match. So we had Kevin Dantzler going against Merab Dvalishvili, and a name I know you can't say.
Yeah,
I've heard him on the UFC for years.
And he's the number 6 UFC bantamweight currently.
Is he really? Is that high? I forgot he was that high ranked.
Yep.
Very fun guy to watch fight. He's a Georgian guy. He's going against Kevin Dantzler, and Dantzler
did some stomps. He just passed. He does the same pass that the Briatolo brothers do, where you step on the leg to pass.
The leg pin passing is what it's called.
He does it by stomping full force and then going through, or he does these crazy cartwheel passes, or he just hard cut slide, I'm just gonna take your freaking head off coming through you.
So Dantzler, thinking ahead here, was like, I'm gonna pull guard.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the match, Dvalishvili was very upset. But
he got really pissed off.
Dvalishvili is a Georgian wrestler.
Yeah, and he has a sambo background too.
That's not a guy you want to stand with. What do you gain in a grappling event? What do you gain with?
He was not happy
in
with
a decision. He was super unhappy with it. But he also approached, I think. He went into, in the post-fight interview, they talked about this, was approaching it on the scoring of an MMA event.
Yes.
And I was going to say,
more like an ADCC or MMA event, he would have probably won. I mean, in theory, he had control.
Yeah, he had control of a lot of it.
He held most of the control. In MMA, they don't give a I mean, they do give a shit if you have a submission, but
the guy on top is winning for the most part.
Yeah.
But this was really funny because it went to the decision.
Yeah.
And Dantzler, numerous points in the back, almost gets Merab's back.
Yeah.
Almost gets in on
the
leg.
one time he tries to hard pass. So Merab does a really kind of just go through the legs full force pass. But he grabs his head and his arm in Kiskatami rather than grabbing an underhook.
Yeah, he grabs a standard scarf hold as opposed to a modified scarf hold that has that long side or that cross side underhook to prevent them from getting to your back.
Dantzler just passes around to his back, gets his back, and then tries to armbar him.
Yeah, and that was definitely the deepest submission.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was some leg lock exchanges here and there, but
he did have Dantzler's legs a few times. There was a few times where it looked, but I don't know how solid they were. You couldn't really tell if they were just a really good positional leg lock or if he was really in trouble.
And Dantzler would immediately sort of begin addressing it and start fighting out of it, and then Merab would let it go and look for top position again. There wasn't really And there was no position where I was like, ooh, Merab is really close to finishing Dantzler here. The armbar on Dantzler's part I was like, oh, this is very finishable. And Merab's super tough, and he's able to get a position, and he got up on the shoulders.
Yeah, he's not going to let him armbar him.
And so he's able to get out of it.
He's one of those guys that I would think that he would let his shoulder probably tear in half before you would actually tap to anything. You would have to hurt him.
So this went decision.
Yes,
and I went, okay, this is, if we're in a grappling event, very clearly Kevin Dantzler.
But MMA or even like an ADCC, like
maybe this is curious to score with ADCC rules. But I gave the decision.
Because he doesn't really pass. He never really gets past both of his legs.
But in a submission-only decision for grappling, this was very clearly Dantzler.
Yeah.
But Merab on top has control. Merab, here's the decision, and just like flabbergasted about the decision. And I went, because and then in his post-fight, because CM Punk brings both Dantzler and then brings Merab out. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, this is another way to do this.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem.
And Merab talks about it. He goes, I controlled him. Like, what he was doing, he was like, I was pissed that he wouldn't stand up and wrestle with me. And
he yelled at him at one point.
And I just laughed.
He like screamed at him at one point.
I just laughed at that because I went, why would he? It's a submission grappling event. Like, he has no incentive to wrestle with you.
No,
because it's like,
if I was going against that dude, I'm not going to freaking stand with him. You're going to go off the stage.
So it was just very funny to see the contrast of like a very high-level MMA grappler and wrestler versus a guy that understands the sport jiu-jitsu.
And what also
and then
made me kind of laugh a little bit was Kevin realized what was going down and got out. Like, he left. And Merab just kept on saying, come on to the mat. We'll fight. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, God, like, this is some pro wrestling shit right here.
Yeah. But again, CM Punk was interviewing it. So
true.
I wasn't too surprised about that.
But he came across as 100% real with, like, he wanted to do that match again.
Which I get. But, again, for me, it was a very fun main event.
Yeah, it
was. I was not surprised, and I think that was definitely the correct decision.
Oh, yeah.
If we're doing a submission grappling event, because Dantzler put up the better submission grappling offense.
Oh, he did.
And Merab, had good positional work, but was never really able to get past deep.
If Merab got past him, held him maybe on his back for a while,
and did something with it.
and then did something with it, you could say that maybe Merab was stolen.
But the two back takes from Dantzler and the armbar, like they were the big pieces of the match. I went, this is clearly Dantzler's match. Definitely. So that was the controversy of the weekend. On to the co-main event, we had Danielle Kelly. Let me burn your notes here.
Right, versus Catherine Mulharis.
So Danielle Kelly previously, again, Danielle Kelly's like world ranked, very good. I don't think we've covered Kat before on the event. We know Kat personally. Yeah, she's a local.
She's done PA. She's done a couple fight to wins.
Yeah.
I want to say she did submission at the Shore.
Yep, I think that's correct.
I'm trying to think if she did the women's fight to win. Remember the whole ladies' night one? Yeah. She's done a lot of events in the area.
But going against Danielle Kelly is a tough
and I think
match.
She had her and her boyfriend used to go up to Henzo's. And Danielle Kelly is Silver Fox. Yeah. So they used to go to Henzo's. So the two of them have rolled together before in the gym. So it was an interesting matchup. Kat came in the last minute, I think. Too.
Yeah,
she was put in.
That was correct.
Yeah, she was put in after someone else pulled out.
Kelly looked good though. I mean, she hits the beginning of the match off with a nice double leg, and we know Danielle Kelly's wrestling is very good and very serviceable.
When she would try to arm drag Kat would square. Yeah, and you watched her get really square, and then you just watched the double lug come through, which, I mean, really, in all honesty, that's what you're supposed to do in that situation.
And it was good. And we saw Kelly turn the corner there. She gets into the quarter guard, and she just works for a couple of minutes to pass. Yeah. Puts really nice pressure into Kat's hips. Danielle Kelly's able to get her hips out. Immediately goes into a mount, high mount, starts to, like, ride it up higher. Yeah. Kat does a good job getting the leg in eventually. Yeah. And try to pull Kelly off.
She does that when they throw their legs
goat
up.
Hook is what it's called.
Is that what it's called?
It's called a goat hook.
Dude, that
is a staple of women's divisions.
It is, and I can't really do it very well. I always want to do it, but the other fear I have is I'm giving you footlocks.
Yeah. Before I broke my back, I did it a ton.
Did you?
But I basically, because I was the guy that would do it at the gym, because I'm one of the smaller people in our gym, and so I would throw it up.
Especially if they ride high. I mean, you have the ability to come up at that point.
Well, even if they ride low. Like, the great thing about it is it's very, very hard to stop it. You have to get your chest low. Yeah. You can do it when you're high or low, but you have to you can't be above the person. Yeah. And Danielle Kelly had a really high mount, but was also very high up because she was looking for the arm, looking for the subs.
And when Kat went to do the goat, was it called the goat hook?
It's called the goat hook.
The goat hook.
What we're talking about is that when you throw your leg, when someone's mounted on you, you throw your leg up over their front of their chest.
Oh, we didn't explain that, did we?
You start to push them back.
You try to get your feet in their armpits, right? Isn't that what you're trying to do in
No,
theory?
you try to get in front of their chest because then they have to reach by and clear it. And you can leg press them back essentially and escape out the back, or you can enter into a leg lock and it basically pushes them off mount.
Yeah, she had went into a leg lock out of it.
Yeah, which is the standard thing to do off of a goat hook because it essentially puts you in like an outside beginning of a 50-50 or a single leg X. If you push them away to one side, you can do it with 2 goat hooks. It's again a staple of the women's divisions at the lower weight classes and the men's divisions below about
like the rooster,
45.
rooster and light feather.
Yeah, light feather.
Yeah.
And once you get into lightweight, you'll see it at the high levels, but it
because
starts
your flexibility.
And guys they have smaller chests and they can get their hips up into it. So you just tend to see it more.
So she does that, and once she enters into the leg lock, Danielle Kelly, splits her legs, comes back through passing.
Yeah,
and then it's just,
kind of more of the same.
Yeah, she goes to Keskatami, she holds her there, and that's basically the end of the match.
Yep, and then Danielle Kelly gets the win there.
She does.
Again, looks good. I think Danielle Kelly talked about going to MMA.
She did
recently.
She did.
That was, I think, this week.
That was the question. That was the question in when they interviewed her after. Was the question, was she going into MMA?
And she was like, yeah.
Yeah, which, hey, good for her.
Yeah, make your money.
She's young enough. She
has great grappling.
Yeah.
You can get, that's a huge base for MMA nowadays. Is like, cool, can you put the fight where you want to, and can you stay on top and maintain dominant position? A very good performance for Danielle Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything else for the...
That is our matches.
For the recaps. Let's move into previews. So we have ADCC East Coast Trials this next week. East Coast Trials are a ton of fun. ADCC Trials, let's do a rundown of why we're so amped about ADCC Trials. ADCC is an event that happens, depending on the weirdness of the pandemic and everything, an event that happens every 2 years. It was pretty much the first professional event that ran regularly, and it had the biggest prize money in jiu-jitsu.
Do you know what I didn't realize until this weekend when I started deep diving into stuff? Yes. I didn't realize that anybody can host it.
Yeah. Yep.
So you bid to host it every
Essentially,
year.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and that was a big thing with Mo. Mo is one of the only people that's ever done it twice in a row because he did such a great job with 2019.
And he has the funds to be able to pump into it.
And he can do it correctly. Like Barley Westema's hosted it, Robert Drysdale's hosted it.
They bring in the right people that handle it.
And that's one of the things that I think Mo's really done differently. Mo Jassim, the event coordinator for ADCC 2019 and moving into 2022, he also runs the Brazilian trials and the West Coast trials.
Okay.
I'm not sure how long he's run those, but at least for the last, I think, 2 events. I could be wrong about that, but Mo brings in the right people to do it, and I think that's sort of why the event was so great.
He also knows a lot of people in the I mean, he knows a lot of the big players.
And he knows what it takes to run an event, and he knows what
and he knows how to throw money into it and make it look like...
He knows how to delegate, too. So it's great to see. So Mo's coming into this event. Anyone can host the trials, and can host the ADCC World Championships. But to get into the World Championships, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can be invited. I was going to try to say something else. Okay. Invited, or you can win a trial spot. For the men, there are 5 divisions, right? 66, 76, 77, 88, 99, above 99.
Yep.
5 divisions.
5 divisions.
For women, there's 2 divisions, under 60 and over 60. And for the men, there are 16 slots.
Yep.
8 of those slots are filled via the 8 trials of the world.
Yep.
So if you are a North American citizen, that means Canada, Mexico, U.S.
Yep.
There's 2 trials. This is an East Coast Trials. This is the first trials, and there's a West Coast Trials.
Yep.
If you win the division, one of those 5 divisions,
in the men's,
you get a slot. You get basically you're invited.
To the
you
World
get a slot there. You get a slot at the World Championship,
which is in Vegas.
This year.
This year it's in Vegas.
Anyone can register. And that's the wild thing about ADCC.
Technically, you're supposed to be a professional to register, but
technically anyone can.
Anybody can register.
And then,
should you register? That's a whole other ball game.
So there are 2 trials in the U.S. There are 2 trials in South America. They are called the Brazilian trials because I don't know if any non-Brazilian has won. You may have had 1 or 2 Ecuadorians, maybe. I don't know, but primarily Brazilians win those. They're both hosted in Brazil. There are 2 trials that happen in Europe, and there are 2 trials that happen in Asia and Oceania. called the Asian trials, sometimes called the Australian trials.
Yeah.
It all depends on, who's talking about it.
Yeah.
So those are your 8 slots for men.
Yep.
The second trials in every region, so not the East Coast trials, but the West Coast trials that will happen next year, has a women's spot for two women's spots, because there are only 8 spots for women, because they do it sort of more in line with the registrations.
Yeah,
Women
so
historically are less registered.
East Coast for women is more of just a tournament.
It's a tournament, but it's also, if you win it, you get Time to Blast pays for your registration and your lodging and your flight over to West Coast Trials to enter
but
that.
You still have to win West Coast Trials.
You still got to win West Coast Trials to get an invite, but it also does put you in the slot for just a straight up invitation, because you have shown you've done the trials. And so the other 8 slots for men, other 4 slots for women, are done via invitation.
Yeah.
Typically in an invitation, what they'll do is they will bring in the medalists of the previous year.
Yeah.
So like Craig Jones probably doesn't have to do trials because he's a medalist. Even if he didn't win, Mateus Diniz, medalist at 88, gold medalist at 88, doesn't have to do trials. Gordon Ryan, he's a whole different thing because he won the absolute, but doesn't have to do trials. Like JT Torres doesn't have to do, they'll typically bring in people that medal at the most recent ADCC, and usually people that are historic guys in ADCC, historic champions.
But it's also sort of known that you should do the trials.
Yeah. Do not go in and
do not wait for an invite, or do not ask for an invite.
Yeah, and Mo has been very clear since 2019, and more so even with going into 2022, like, you show us you want an invite by doing the trials. There's some big people, he goes, that we're not going to invite. Like, we expect you to do the trials. People that have done ADCC before, like, we still expect you to do the trials. And like guys like Tom DeBlast won the trials 3 times.
Yeah.
Wagner won the trials 3 times. Guys have won trials multiple times, been in ADCC multiple times, but that getting into ADCC does not guarantee your spot. Like Keith Krikorian did the trials, came in second in 2018 in the East Coast Trials, second in 2019 in the West Coast Trials, and then he was given an invite slot after a dropout because look, man, you've done silver medals twice.
Yeah.
You're a guy at the level that we want to include in this tournament. Like, it shows the organizers that you want to go in. So that is trials. That is how the invites work. That is why trials is such a big deal, because there's like 40 grand on the line in your division at the World Championships. Like, that is an unprecedented amount of money.
And then you also have to look at both the World Championship and trials being a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
It's not the same as, IBJJF or your general tournament. The whole rule system is completely different. Mm-hmm. The scoring system is completely different.
There's a huge emphasis placed on initiation, like who initiates a position. And there's controversial there's also a lot of not controversial matches in ADCC, but from the outside. Yeah. Some people will have some controversy because...
Especially if you don't understand the rule set and you watch a match, and you can completely be wrong with how things are going to proceed.
There's also a no-point section. There's a point section. It's, again, a very different rule set, and it is very much a submission grappling event, or submission wrestling event.
It's like a wrestling event with submissions more than a jiu-jitsu event.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I mean, because
when you think about it, somebody who is a blue belt in jiu-jitsu but has has an NCAA, wrestling career, can come in and technically take it all.
Yeah, because you have the background and the submissions and the initiative and the takedowns are such a big thing, because you can't pull guard at the beginning of your matches.
But
that's
kind of changed.
Well, I think it's changed. It's just people have learned how to more effectively game the rules. Yeah. And Mo has even talked about, like, look, these are the rules. Yeah. It doesn't mean you can't play to the rule set.
You can pull in your first 3 minutes.
Well, you can, but you're going to get a negative point.
No, you're not.
In the finals,
you do. But in the beginning, you can play the game if you really want to.
Yeah.
You're just, if you don't initiate anything with it and you don't come towards somebody, then you're going to have problems.
Yeah. So very, very different rule set. Do you want to go through the rules first, or we want to go through some of the names in the divisions? What do you think we want to do first?
Let's go through rules, and then we'll go through
rules.
Last.
If you haven't watched the video online, pause the podcast, go look up ADCC Rules Seminar for, I forget the name of the...
It's like 2017.
Go look at the Grappling Rewind Instagram page.
Oh, okay.
It will be one of the most recent posts. You can see the name of the video there. It's been an hour video. If you're curious about it,
it's like 40 minutes long.
I thought it was like 52.
I don't know. It could be a little bit longer.
It's long, but it
was my lunch break one day.
Yeah, it will fully explain how ADCC and ADCC
and a couple
works.
Questions too.
And some questions and some answers, like what's actually banned. Like, very little is banned in ADCC.
But I find the things that are banned, it's a little weird.
It is kind of funny.
Like,
There is
it's
some
kind
stuff
of
that's banned
bizarre.
that's funny. Like
It's
the big thing that's banned is you can't
neck
control
cranks.
both shoulders with a neck crank. You can
Yes.
control a single one, but you can't like go to a stockade position if you're
Yeah.
familiar with what that is.
Yeah.
And like crank, you can't go to a full Nelson and crank. You can't
I
do a
saw
roll down full
I
Nelson
saw a
with crank.
meme that explained like the greatest way to understand this is if you've ever seen the Dake and Burroughs USA Wrestling Trials match.
No.
Where so
Maybe.
Jordan Burroughs shoots doubles.
Yeah.
And he's completely
Jordan- that
he's
is-
completely under
That's the
Dake.
quote of the podcast. Jordan Burroughs
shoots doubles. And he goes completely under Dake, and Dake butt bounces him. He literally just bumps his
Yeah.
butt off Burroughs' head as Burroughs has both of his shoulders.
Yeah.
And that is legal because neither of his shoulders are being controlled, though he is cranking the head because he's pushing down the head. So
Yeah.
weird way to understand that rule. Watch the booty bounce and you'll understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that. I've seen that
Side
gif.
note.
I've seen that gif of that match. I remember exactly what match you're talking about now. So
It was I mean, it worked.
yeah.
He
So,
won the match.
let's go through the points here.
Anyway.
Again, standard. We're gonna run through them quickly, and then we'll run through kind of the particulars here about what makes it interesting.
Yep.
Pass on the guard is 3 points. Pretty standard.
Yeah.
Knee on the stomach.
But you have to pass with 75% control of the back when you land.
Yeah, and shoulders down.
Yes, the
Like,
shoulders need to be down,
when
which
you
is
get a
not
pin-
which is not a normal.
It's more like,
jiu-jitsu
oh, you
rule.
get them past. It doesn't matter where they
No,
are.
you have to pin them.
It's not about as much of where the legs are.
It's a
about
pin.
where the legs are and where the shoulders are. So you
So you
have
have
to
to-
get them down and flat. So if they turn up on their side to defend you,
Yep.
it doesn't count as a
That's
pass
nothing.
until you settle their shoulders down.
Yes.
So again, I like this rule a lot because it forces people and it makes people like not settle a pass and like really fight to settle a
Yeah.
pass hard, and also
Yeah.
people on the bottom not
Turtle.
just like get halfway
You
through
can
and get
turtle.
through it. You
Yeah.
can turtle, which is in the rules
Yeah.
later, but it forces people to continue to like
Yeah.
fight up in position.
And I find that's also a problem when you coach people that are coming into competing that haven't competed for a long time, like settling positions.
yeah.
Like they pass guard, but they don't settle where they're at long enough to actually,
Yeah, I've had
move on.
Many matches that I'm
And that's
coaching
me
where,
screaming at most white belts.
where all you can hear
need
is
to
me
settle.
yelling on a mat, settle, just as
Yeah.
loud as I can.
Hold position.
Yeah, and they get like, oh, Maine really wants me to settle position. Like,
Yeah,
settle
yeah,
here,
yeah,
get your
yeah.
points. And look at me,
So
and I'll show you
I
you've
think
got your
that's a
points.
good way to effectively make that happen.
Yeah. Knee on
Okay.
the stomach. Is you more on that or not?
Nope, that's it.
Knee
I
on the
got
stomach
it.
is 2 points. But what I love about the knee on the stomach rule is like
It has to be the middle of the stomach.
it's the middle of the stomach. It can't be ribs, can't be chest, can't be face.
Which
it's
is
like
different.
it's the stomach.
Yeah.
And they want ADCC,
they want it in the belly button.
Yeah, they want the knee in the middle of the body.
Yeah.
They don't want a knee ride. They want like I want your knee in their stomach.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, not like an IBJJF or any other tournament,
Yeah.
you don't have to post up the far side knee.
No.
It doesn't have to be the forward knee. It can be the back knee. It's like
Yeah.
if you put
You
your
can be
knee,
facing their feet. You can be facing,
if you put your knee on their stomach and control them, it's 2 points.
Yes, it is.
And
And,
you
if you remove it for 3 seconds and put it back, that's another 2
Yeah.
points.
And one thing in the rules video that Mo really
Yeah.
was repeated over and over again was 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like everything, 3 seconds resets it.
Yeah.
So it's like if you control the position, you get your points, you leave that position, and then for 3 seconds,
Yeah.
and then you go back to that position for 3 seconds, you score again.
Yeah.
And we don't see it done a ton. I think we saw it. There's a very famous match with
Yeah, there's
Galvao and Pajares, I think,
yeah.
where Galvao just kept taking a hook in and out,
Yeah.
would continue to rack up points on it. But that is very different from pretty much every single
Most other
rule set.
tournaments, you can't do that.
No, you can't. You have to go back to the guard.
You have to go to another position.
Yeah,
You have to-
ADCC goes like, nah, man, he's gonna let you keep doing it.
But
keep getting your points.
but the weird thing about it, so you can do that, but if you pass guard to mount, you only get your pass points. You don't
Yeah.
get the mount points,
Mhm.
which
Until
I
you
find
settle.
really weird. No, you don't get the mount points at all. You only get the pass points. It goes further down when passing guard straight to mount. Knee or stomach points will only be awarded for passing the guard.
Oh yeah.
So you don't get your points for your position.
Well, mount's
Because-
only 2 points, which is funny too.
I know, but normally you would get your 3 for your
Mhm.
pass, and then in a normal tournament, 4 for your mount,
Mhm.
or in here, 2 for your mount. But you're not getting that 2,
Yeah.
which I find to be weird.
It's a really.
but I
it's-
guess that's you're not giving an advantage to go straight. You're using it. You're not giving the advantage to go straight to that position.
Yeah. It's interesting. Again,
Yeah.
ADCC has some very interesting nuance to their rules. Mount position 2 points. Again, this is a really standard mount. You have to have both knees down, but they don't care if you have an arm in or out. They don't care.
Yeah, and they don't care if both their arms can be under you. You can be real high. You can be a little more low.
If you're on their chest and both knees touch the mat at 3
seconds.
seconds.
And they said if the person is ginormous and you have short little legs, that they'll guard accordingly.
The other thing I like about the rules seminar is they went at referee discretion, like over and over again. I was like, look, if it's there and like there's this little maybe it didn't, maybe not, like, and the referee deems that it is.
We've all gotten mount on a heavyweight and not been able to put our knees down.
Yeah, I'm in a squat and my chest is on your body, but I can't touch the ground. Yeah, so I do like that ADCC recognizes that like grappling has such nuance to it that they will score certain things that are like, you're in the position. Yeah, it looks different because there's a size difference, so there's like a technique thing that's happening here. Like, we're going to score it. And I appreciate they actually just straight up bring that up in the rules meeting over and over again at referee discretion.
Oh, it says both of your knees must be below their shoulder line. Okay, so if you go up to a triangle, you have to settle your position before going up to
their arms can be under you, but they have to be below the shoulder line for mount.
You can't just squeeze their head with your knees.
But that's contrary to most other mounts where it's like you have to be below their armpits.
Yeah,
for this mount, their hands can be in and it still counts as mount, which again, some of the nuance of ADCC.
True.
Back mount with hooks. I also love they count the body triangle now.
Yeah.
Which is like,
I can't do a body triangle to save my life. I'm way too like, my body's just not built for a body triangle.
But I just love that they're counting it now because it's been like, that's been the meta for probably 6 years now. Like the body triangle. And now finally like, look, body triangle counts, hooks counts.
Yeah.
If your feet are there, like around the body, back mount is 4 points. So again, we have some difference. We have 3 points. We have mount only being 2 points. And we have back mount with hooks only being 3 points.
Yes.
As opposed to the normal 4 points, which, again, it just leads to some of the interesting things about ADCC. The points can get, like, you are never getting a ton of points for individual things. You're getting 2 points or 3 points. You're never getting, like, 4 and 6 points.
You are getting 4 for very specific, and you can 4 for takedowns.
So takedown. So we have to move to 2 points here. Takedown that ends in the guard or half guard. So you take him down into the half guard or the guard. 2 points. Takedowns clean that end in a guard pass. You get 4 points.
Yeah.
So again, you're not getting that extra point you are in just the pass.
Yeah.
But it is incentivizing you to clear the legs on a takedown because then you're getting 4 points.
But you get 2 for the takedown. You settle. You pass the guard. That's 3. That's then 5 points.
Yeah. But it does reward you more.
It does reward you more, but
because we've seen entire matches contested in the guard because people are like, oh, you need to pass the guard here, I'll get my 2 points and then fight for it. Versus
I think it also incentivizes like some really nice takedowns.
Yeah, it incentivizes you to push through and not just accept a half guard to get 4 points because it may very well be the only points you score in a match.
If they grab your head, you have to clear the guillotine before you get your points.
Yes,
and before they start counting your 3.
Yeah. That's the thing, too, is like, it's not like IBJJF a lot of times, it's as soon as you clear the submission, they get points. But for ADCC,
you still have to settle it.
You have to be settled with no submission occurring. And so a lot of guys will hang on a Kimura for a long time.
Even if it's a shit Kimura,
but
that's not going to get them anywhere.
They have to defend it because there's no points until that is cleared.
Exactly.
And then the 3 seconds start, so you have someone who will hang on to something for a long time. And then when someone starts to move position to try to fight it off, they'll start fighting out, and there will never be a full takedown scored because it was never established because the submission was in play until then.
It somewhere it says that your butt. It literally says your butt has to hit the mat for 3 seconds.
You have to be down.
Yeah. So if you're one of those people that can bounce your butt off the mat when you land, which we all know, we've all rolled with somebody that you take them down, they hit the mat, their butt bounces, and they get back up. You not getting anything on that.
Nope. So clean takedown,
no
ends
advantages
and pass,
or any of that.
4 points. Sweep. 2 points. Again, bottom player, top player.
Sweep does not involve the legs.
No.
So that's the change from Jiu-Jitsu rules to this rule, is that you normally in Jiu-Jitsu you have to have involvement of your legs to furnish a
ADCC
sweep.
Is you're facing each other. Yeah. Someone's on the bottom, someone's on the top. If that switches at any point in time,
which is a reversal.
Reversals count now, so it doesn't matter. So like reversal from side control in ADCC counts as a sweep, which is reversals count, and there's a whole other collection of techniques that now count for points in ADCC that do not count in any other rule set, really.
The other weird thing is you have to initiate the sweep. So if you go for an arm bar and they roll you over, that is not
No points for
sweep
your opponent.
or a reversal for your opponent.
Yeah.
That's just you getting shit position.
Getting taken over.
Yeah.
Which is, again, that goes back to the initiation
Yeah.
of position being a big thing. So clean sweep, basically it's when you're at a bottom outside position and you flip all the way over, that it ends in a guard pass is 4 points. So if you sweep and into a pass out of it, like from the guard, you sweep
like a butterfly sweep.
like a butterfly sweep, and you end up passing.
I was trying
on
to
it.
think of ways to like visualize it. A butterfly sweep is the easiest.
So
one I
somewhere
know.
from the guard, leg entangled, and then to outside for like a side control position.
Yeah.
So any collection of techniques that end in those or end in a top position, you get your 4 points.
You could also
for
do
that.
a balloon sweep.
Yeah,
They're always fun.
any
Over your
combination of stuff. So yeah, that's the basic points layout for ADCC.
And that's
different.
And that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot in and of itself.
Yeah.
And now we start negative points.
Now we go to negative points. If there's some very specific rules about jumping guard. If you choose to jump guard,
Negative
you remain down.
points on trials, on non-championship matches don't start until 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
But then on championship matches, they do
And in the
start
finals.
from the
And
beginning.
in the
In finals, I mean.
Yeah, so
not championship.
trials
but
are 3
finals.
minutes, no points, 3 minutes points.
Yeah.
But your negatives can carry over from the no points section
They can,
into the points section.
yes.
So things like passivity and stuff like that.
But a passivity negative, not a guard pulling negative.
Correct. And
That's
they're
my understanding.
a little different, but
Yeah.
and they score differently, but functionally they take a point away from you.
Yeah, they're
which is how
minus
they
to
work.
out of your points at the end.
They're not, which is weird because most other organizations in negative, you just either get a penalty or your opponent gets something. This one, it's just taken from your points.
And like if you get a negative in IBJJF, if you still win on points, your negative doesn't affect you one way or another. It's
right,
just
if
kinda,
they're even,
it's just kind of chilling.
Unless that's the deciding factor.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is again,
unless you're both 2. Let's say you both have 2 points and one of you has a negative, then it goes.
but
against
other than
you.
that, if
Other than that, it doesn't freaking really matter unless you
Nope.
clock too many up. and you
unless
start
it's the
giving
deciding factor and then
Yeah.
you give more to your opponent. But ADCC, again, it's just you can keep racking up negative points and it's just minuses out of your own points.
Yes.
I don't really want to go through all of the things,
No,
penalties, negatives.
Passivity is your big one.
Yeah, passivity is your big one, and then
not
like
engaging,
doing stuff you're not supposed to do, and like not like you said, not engaging, fleeing the mat, fixing a fight, you'll get DQ'd. Like
Which I think the way they act like fixing a fight is something that goes on every single day. Like they made so many warnings about fixing fights. I was like,
but
that's
because it's happened before. And
I guess
ADCC,
it- yeah,
and it's a
I
big
guess it has.
professional level tournament. They're like, no, you don't get to go and you and your buddy have a match that like you give it to your buddy.
Yeah.
Like no, if you're here to
I wonder if
compete, you're
this-
here to compete.
Is this one of these tournaments where if you're in certain
I don't know.
okay,
So
you know what I'm talking about.
But typically what they do in the ADCC World Championships is they will put people that are from the same gym or same affiliation or same school.
Yeah, in
they
different sides of the
They
bracket.
will go. No, they don't put them in the side.
Oh, they
put
don't.
'em- they have to meet in the second round at the latest. So
okay.
if you have 3 people from your gym, then someone's got to fight the first round each other. Someone has to fight the second round. Like the latest you can go for your own teammate is second round.
I'm not a fan of closeouts.
No, and
I think
but
closeouts are
ADCC
ridiculous.
doesn't allow it, and it's a professional
Okay.
level event. And so
I didn't know if certain because I think certain affiliations
yeah.
require it.
Yeah.
Because I've watched them do it over and over.
GB
again.
does. GB is one of the big
Yeah,
ones.
I
Grajibata
think-
is one of the big ones that does it. Atos did it for a
Atos
long
does
time.
it, I think.
And
But I
some
don't
guys
think
will
they still
fight.
do it, yeah.
They do it occasionally. Checkmat will do it. Sister Costa does it.
Yeah.
A lot of the big teams
Yeah.
do it, and it's not. It's
They're called closeouts. You'll see them here and there.
we see them every world championship.
Yeah,
Every
and they either
major.
take turns, or sometimes it's the more.
You just choose to give it to your teammate, which
Yeah.
in a combat sport I can understand where it comes from.
Yeah.
But ADCC does not care,
Well,
and they're
good.
like, "You're here to fight. You're here to compete. You must compete."
Yeah.
Or like you can't just give it to your opponent. You have to compete.
Yeah.
If like one person drops, the other person, like you're both DQ'd.
Yeah.
Like if you get to a point where you have to fight your teammate, we want to see that match. And you must have that match.
Yes.
Which I appreciate. Mo, in 2019, he made it so they can meet the second round as
Okay.
opposed to it used to be the first round.
Oh,
cool.
okay.
It's like you have
Because I know
Tainan
for trials, I know they try to set them on other ends of the bracket. They
and
try
I
not to
don't
put them
remember the
together.
trials how that.
Yeah.
I don't remember how they do that. Again, it was such a big trials. I didn't remember where you had to meet or not. And I didn't know if that was the case for trials or not. But
Yeah.
if you're saying that is the case,
I thought that was the case, but I could be completely
yeah.
wrong with that.
Most events they put teammates on the opposite side of the bracket.
Yeah.
ADCC is not about that life.
Yeah.
And be prepared to fight your teammate early in the World Championships if
Which,
it gets
hey.
there. Look, it's so you can't fix a finals match. That's really what they want.
A lot of teams won't put more than one person in.
Or 2 people. They put 2 people in maximum.
They won't put a large
because
amount of people in.
In Mo's thought process for that was having it in the second round gives a chance for the match to not have to happen.
Yeah.
Like if one of your teammates gets eliminated by someone else, like cool, you have another match. Versus putting in the first round, it's like 2 guys that train together.
It also helps make finals not a closeout.
Yeah, or
think about
it's not.
Or not a let's see X gym take on the world kind of situation.
No, it's like we're gonna have one person from one gym, one person from another association that are looking for the money and looking for the title, not looking to play friends in closeouts. Which again, we have our thoughts on closeouts. I think it looks really bad for the sport to see it.
I'm not a fan.
Other folks are
other fans
big fans of it.
Other people are.
We're openly not a fan of it. I think it's a bad look for the sport. So that does it for rules. Again, the rules are up. If you're gonna watch it, watch the rules video and look at the rules. Again, I don't stress rules this much for any event but ADCC because it's really important and it's a big deal. It is the biggest event in the world, and it's awesome. So this is the trials.
Did we go over what was what you can't do?
You
can't pin both your shoulders and crank their neck.
Yeah, essentially. There's a couple other things that I think that you can't spike on the head is the other big one.
Yeah, you can't grab the trachea.
Nope, you can't squeeze it.
It's known as a variety of different things.
It is domestic violence choke.
I call it the domestic choke.
Yeah,
but can't do that.
You can't slam out of anything that is not a submission.
Yeah.
So you can slam, but only in a submission, and you have to be in the process of being submitted. Yeah. And like if you get up, if the person jumps guard and you slam.
That was the other thing. Yeah. If you're in a submission, they let go of the submission. You cannot slam afterwards.
Yes.
You have to let them go.
And if they're letting go as you're slamming, you have to not slam.
You have to not slam.
It's again,
But to your best
safety
knowledge,
rule. Which I do appreciate. Like, look,
no eye gouging and all that kind of
all the standard rules. So that's ADCC rules. Super excited for it. Let's talk about who is registered. Women's division. Let's go there first. So women looking to win a slot for West Coast Trials and then put their name on the map.
We have 60 kilograms.
Yeah, we don't have unfortunately, the list of who's out. We just have who Flo has released at this time for names. So we're going to go off that, do a real brief preview of the movers and shakers that we know about so far.
And 60 kilograms is right around 132.
Okay.
I know this because like I've thought about it. Like if I actually did it at my own weight, I would have to be in heavyweight, and that like blows my mind. So it's 132.
Brienne St. Marie is there. We saw her a couple weeks ago on.
She competed over the weekend, I believe, like 3 times in different rule sets. She did like a wrestling tournament. She did like all kinds. So she's definitely a game competitor that's been competing nonstop. We
have Amanda Tubby Aliquin, who's seen a ton on Fight to Win. We saw her at the Who's Number 1 championships, looking good. Excited to see her. In the plus 60 kilogram division, we have Kendall Riesling. Kendall Rusing. I'm going to get her name right eventually. We have Kendall Rusing, which previously won trials.
She did. And she's a very experienced wrestler. She started wrestling when she was like 6 or 8.
And she has a judo background and national.
She actually did really well being a correspondent. It was Who's Number 1.
Yeah.
The last Who's Number 1.
She's been on commentary a couple times, and I've always really liked the perspective she brings on commentary, and she's very well spoken.
She was speaking about training and the different ways that they train for different matches. And she
very knowledgeable. We also have Kat Zingano, who they have
really?
Here. Yep.
See, I just saw that one. That's a new one.
Yep.
I haven't seen her compete in a long time.
No, she's in Bellator now. She was in the UFC for years.
I know that. And then she was in Bellator, but I hadn't seen her fight in a while.
She fought.
She had a bunch of personal
not too long ago. I want to say like within the last 4 months. She had a fight back.
Yeah.
And I forgot how it went, but I think she looked great. When I remember it.
Yeah.
So that's women's division again.
Interesting. I didn't know she was in it. That's interesting. And our friend is in over 60. She used to work for Fight to Win.
Brittany.
Oh no shit. She's going to be in trials. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
She's in over 60.
Yeah. Big Bird, Brittany Elkin is on over 60
she
as well. Again, we have, I think, the smallest division.
Is Big Bird her name? Her fight name?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I've just met her recently. So
okay. I have an interview with her up online from a year ago.
Yeah, she's cool. She's a cool person.
So we're just going to run through the names that we have for these divisions. The smallest division is the women's plus 60, and I think it has 35 people.
Yeah.
The biggest division is 77 with 215. We're going to omit
212.
Is it
212.
Okay, 212.
212.
We're going to omit 95% of
Yeah.
the names here. We're just going to, again, read the names that we have and talk about
And the
kind of their
top
forces
people.
in their divisions. Moving on to the 66 kilogram division, which kind of surprised me here. We have starting off Kolabate, who had a great run
yeah.
at Who's Number One. He beat Gio, who's, again, a former ADCC Trials winner.
And he
been to
definitely
ADCC.
he leads, or he plays up to the hype. There's a lot of hype around him. There was a lot of talk about, does he really belong in Who's Number One
And
as
he
a
fucking
blue
does.
belt? And he just wrecked people. So he definitely belongs there. I loved seeing him compete. He's a great competitor.
Yep, we have Gianni Grippo, again, at 66. We'd speculated a lot if he was going to be at 77 or 66. He's at 66. Grippo, we've covered him extensively the last 6 months.
He's been competing nonstop.
Killing it.
Especially in the nogi circuit.
And he's been looking good. His
he
wrestling's
does.
on point.
He
He's
does.
like now fighting for the submission consistently. Took an IBJJF world title in nogi.
Did.
He's been on like 4 or 5 different
he
things.
was on
UG.
a variety of UG
he won,
was the most recent.
He won Emerald City.
Yeah.
Like, been looking really, really good. We have Esther Martinez also at 66.
I'm super excited to watch him.
I like
because
watching
he
Esteban.
is so much fun to watch.
He always puts on a fun match. He weighs about 127, but he was on last weekend at Third Coast Grappling
And it was
as an entrant.
as a 170.
At
It was a
180.
180.
Yeah.
So he always, and I mean, he still shoots for the takedowns. He doesn't care.
Nope. Very, very good. We also have Damien Anderson at this weight.
Who
Again,
we also
cutting
saw
some weight.
compete. Yeah.
They did a rematch with Gianni Grippo. We had both of them in the EUG event last week. Should be very fun to see. And we have Keith Krikorian back at 66. And I'm super surprised Keith is going down again to 66 and not to 77.
77's a big bracket too.
Yeah,
you have to think about what you weigh in at, and can you get to that size?
Yeah.
And are you effective at that size?
Again,
you know?
Krikorian takes, he fought Bushesha at fucking ADCC.
I know.
Like, dude's game for anything. I'm curious to see how he looks cutting this much weight. I'm assuming he's going to have to cut down a lot more than he did previously.
Yeah.
2-time silver medalist at ADCC Trials. Look for Krikorian to be a force in 66. We also have Edmond Juni Ocasio.
I like Junie.
I like Juni a lot.
Junie.
I love his leg lock game, his
Yes.
ability to. He's just shown a lot recently, and he's submitted a lot of people.
It'll be interesting to see what his game plan is for the trials.
Yeah.
Because he's not a wrestly dude.
Not
He's
really. He
gonna
can
stand
do it.
and
We've
wrestle.
seen him do
Yes.
it, but not.
But that's not generally
recently.
his
He did a bit
bread and
of
butter.
purple and a little bit of brown and black. He's
Yeah.
really been dominant in the leg locks, and that's
He is.
primarily like where he's gone. These are all out of order, by the way.
Oh,
So
okay.
let's move into 99 because
Oh,
I have
we're
them out
all
of
out of
order.
order.
And this one I can find 77.
Nah, it's okay.
We have here. Yeah,
Nope, that was
We had
77.
77. Kicking off the division, we have Cade Rotolo from Atos. Cade's
Yeah.
looked amazing recently. Been just like
His grind is going to be crazy.
his grind,
Just
his gas
watching
tank.
watching him just keep on going after people.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've read about him, because I've read up on quite a few of the guys in the 77 division.
Our
is that-
coaches there.
Yeah,
Rob.
our
And so we've
our
been looking
friend
at all
is
the
in the
guys like,
77
all right,
division.
who's Rob gonna have to
so-
fight? And
yeah,
it's
so
been
I-
funny talking to Rob about like all the guys in the
it's-
bracket and taking a bigger
so
look at 77 for that
I've been
reason.
watching way too many 77 matches right now. But Cade, what I hear time and time again, everybody that has been training with him is holding him down is almost impossible.
Yeah, and we've seen that
you
in Who's Number
tire
One matches.
yourself. Yeah, you tire yourself out before you can hold him down. So
And his jumping darts that we saw on display
he
at
has
Who's
that,
Number One.
and he has
won
buggy
Who's Number
chokes,
One.
and he's definitely an up and coming, and he did the trials at like 16, 15, 16.
I
didn't he?
think like 14.
14. He did it. I mean, crazy.
Because I think he's
young.
17. I think you're 17 now,
okay.
and that was almost 3 years ago.
Man, and he's getting into like his man strength now.
Dude, it's been wild.
It's wild
Also in
stuff.
the division, we have William Tackett
Yeah.
going down. Been at 80
Yeah,
kilograms for a while.
he's been bigger in the past. Like I was surprised to see him in this. in this
ADCC is the thing
bracket.
you're going to see guys cut some serious weight for.
I know, but the
and get
problem
down.
is in this division you're gonna have 8 to 9 matches.
You have 8. You have 8 matches.
8 matches.
8 matches to win.
And that's a lot of matches when you're cutting.
2 days, making
Over
weight
2
every
days.
day.
You don't have to make it weight every day.
Oh, right. It's only for the World
Just
Championships.
Saturday.
Again,
But still, cutting is not an easy thing to do. And it's easy for 1 or 2 matches, but you're talking about 8.
yeah.
But anyway,
Tackett's real good. We
Yeah.
also have John Combs in this division,
Yeah.
former winner of this division at East Coast Trials last time. Was he at 66? He was a 66 last time.
I think he was at 66 last time.
He beat Krikorian in the finals at East Coast Trials.
I like
last
watching
time.
John Combs in all the different.
Dude has a great guillotine. As a guillotine guy myself, big fan of John Combs.
I like his game. It's a good game.
Yeah, he's a fun game. Go back and watch his Copa Podio thing. It's floated a thing on it probably 2015 or 16 called One Night in Brazil.
I love his wrestling style. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great to watch.
Yeah, former Eastern guy now at the East Coast. We have John Cetava also in this division, big force. And we have PJ Barch in this. We have actually two more people listed. PJ Barch is in this division, who we saw get injured at 77 2019 for West Coast Trials. That was the big shoulder or leg injury he had in the semifinals. And then he was out for a while.
He did Nogi Worlds, because I went back and watched his Nogi Worlds matches, and he went against the person that won the division. It wasn't he's went against Taza, and then he went against Ohio wrestler guy just went to Pedigo.
Couch? No.
You know
Dante.
He went against Dante Leon.
Ohio.
And they had. I know this is. Well, he's not. He's Canadian, right?
The Canadian, yeah.
He's Canadian.
I would not leave
I was
Ohio.
like, well, it was better than me saying, you know, the guy I think is hot.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the hot dude from Ohio. Like that's the other way I'd explain this shit. Anyway, the two of them had a freaking battle at Nogi Worlds that I watched. Great, like back and forth. Dante wins, but he puts on a really good showing.
When Barch is on, he looks really good.
I did a seminar with him a couple months ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Huh. Where was it at?
Kogan. They seem to bring everybody in.
Yeah, they bring a lot of people in
everybody
locally.
around. He's cool. What's interesting about him, he's actually from Delaware. He grew up in Delaware. He wrestled in Delaware.
I knew that. Yeah.
And then he moved. And then he moved to Hawaii.
Yep.
After that, and fought MMA in Hawaii, and then came and became part of 10th Planet in California.
Yeah, California. He's under Boogie, right?
Yeah. So he doesn't. The two of them, I think, are both. I don't know who he's technically.
I always forget.
Yeah. Well, Boogie's older than Gio.
Yeah. Boogie's older.
But I don't know who's under who. But he has a very interesting style, and I like it because he's not your typical 10th Planet. Like when you watch him, he doesn't move like your typical 10th Planet guy.
He's got great wrestling.
Yeah, he does.
He leverages that heavily at 77.
Oh yeah.
Also in the division, we have Cody Steele. Again, been a lot of fun to watch recently. He again is another guy that leans into that wrestling heavy, and we've seen him blast a lot of folks off his feet.
He's cutting back down. Yeah. Because he was in 88 before, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah,
again,
he was in 88.
Again, you're going to see guys cutting weight. I'm curious to see because we have Cody Steele and we have William Tackett in this division. Those guys are boys, and they train with each other. Yeah. You've seen all that training footage.
Yeah,
it's awesome to see.
They had the same weight trainer because I remember going on some kind of weird thing where I went into their weight training.
But Steele's also
protocols.
been fighting MMA now.
Yeah,
and
he
so
has.
It's interesting to see.
We talked about him.
Time.
One of the last podcasts we spoke about his MMA career because he had fought recently.
Yeah, like he made his pro debut really recently.
That's 77.
That's 77. Now we're on to. Let me try to find it.
We're in,
I think this is.
We are
I think
on
Fowler's on a 99, so 88.
It's Jacob Couch.
Yeah.
And John Salter.
I'm super curious to see how Couch looks at this because he also in this division has Elder Cruz, who I think has got the better of him like 2 or 3 separate times.
Exactly.
And I'm curious. Again, they haven't met in an ADCC rule set yet, and I'm curious to see like how that's going to happen.
Couch has never been in the ADCC, nor has he. I don't think he's ever done the ADCC.
He hasn't done trials before?
I think this is his first.
Yeah, he would have been a blue belt last time trials ran through. So he's made huge improvements recently.
Yeah, and I don't think they were traveling and getting around because that was prior to Daisy Fresh and all of that.
Again, Couch is the guy that until recently I wasn't really sold on. Then watching his run at Who's Number One and watching him versus Colvin a couple weeks ago, I was like,
and even watching him lose and come back, he does a great job.
He's a guy that I think will do really well because he's a guy that will leave it on the line and go with nothing to lose.
Yeah, he has nothing to lose.
And that for these big divisions, plays so well, and that's I think why he did so well at Who's Number One was like he has nothing to lose, so he's just gonna go and like force guys to be super defensive.
And he does have a solid Heath Pedigo does coach them well.
Yeah.
He will understand the rules and he will know how to coach them.
And they bring new tools and they're learning and you're seeing, the grind of that gym will make guys good really quickly. Yeah. Again, Elder's going to be tough to get by. Yeah. Historically has the edge on him. He's Atos.
Checkmate.
Sorry, Checkmate, not Atos. I don't know why I said Atos.
They're both California-based.
They're both California teams that are huge and big and very good. Yeah. So he's in that division. We also have John Salter in this division, and we have former trials winner at 77. I always mess up what division Balding wins.
Salter won 88.
Yeah.
So he won West Coast at 88.
Yeah. 2017.
Yeah, it was Hinger and DJ Jackson.
Yeah.
That was the 3.
And then Alec Balding won. What weight did he win last time? Was it 88? I always, for some reason, put Balding as a 45er for like a year. And
no, I don't think
he's definitely not.
Yeah.
But for some reason, for like 6 months in my head, he was a 45er, and it's just thrown me off.
Random story. You know, I totally thought that I get stuff screwed up all the time. And my random story just went away because I literally thought an Australian accent was a European accent and thought somebody was European when they were Australian.
Oh no, that's not good, Miranda.
Yeah, this is how my brain works. So I completely understand with sometimes screwing up the size of people. So anyway, they're all going to be ginormous compared to me. So it doesn't really matter.
Balding's at 88. I thought he won 77 last time, but he might have won 88 last time again.
Giles. I thought he was European.
Nope, he's Australian.
Nope, Australian.
So
realized that recently.
Balding, again, look for Balding to be a force. He's been successful in the rule set before. He's won it before. So he's another kind of, like, not a sleeper, but a guy that you haven't seen a ton of on, like, the invitation scene since his last trials run.
And we'll see. And with this tournament, it really depends on who they get matched up against.
Yeah, in a huge way.
You know, if they put 2, and they do seed it. Mo did talk about seeding it. So, I mean, you're not going to go, the 2 top seeds aren't going to go against each other immediately.
No, I would hate to see
that. But, like, you might get somebody strong early on and have to fight through. So, or you might get random dude that has been training for 2 years that decided that he should sign up for the...
That's why partially why I love trials so much, because you might get random dude no one knows who entered and can compete on that pro level and gets a chance to showcase how good they are, which is why ADCC and trials is such a hugely important thing in the sport, because
anyone can win.
You put your money where your mouth is, and you show, like, I can compete and I can show up. Again, that's how we get guys like Craig Jones coming in and Lachlan Giles. Like, they win the trials, they come in, and they get a opportunity to fight those best guys in other divisions where they just wouldn't be able to for whatever reason. They win a trial, so you get in.
Yep.
Moving on to 99 kilogram division, we have Mason Fowler going up from 88. Again, another guy that looked really good at ADCC. He's looked really good at Submission Underground recently. He's just looked good overall, but up at 99 now. So doesn't want to cut the weight. And I think 88 was a cut and a half for him.
You think so?
Yeah, I feel like if he's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger.
Yeah.
We've seen him bulk up a bit, and I just feel like
these
he
brackets
can leverage
are
his
large.
skill. Yeah.
No matter what, most.
I think the smallest division for men is 59 competitors, 55 competitors,
and that's over 99.
Over 99. Yeah. I think this has like 50.
Which still, that's a lot for
people.
an over 999.
It's huge. That's a massive tournament.
Unless you get somebody who has a huge gas tank, that's going to be. Yeah.
And I think that's possibly one of the reasons that we see Fowler moving up. Is because Fowler has a crazy good gas tank going up.
He can outmatch.
I think it's a combination of. I'm going to completely speculate. It's probably a combination of those two things.
But this tournament is, like we said before, it is a wrestling tournament on top of anything else. So your gas tank is very important.
Yeah,
and maintaining that gas tank.
And being able to keep it through multiple matches, because you're going to have 4 or 5 matches. There's going to be
time between your matches.
Yeah,
you're going to have to cool down. You're going to warm back up.
And so I think potentially at 99, Fowler can leverage that cardio that he has. A little bit more. We also have Paulo Dilla in this match as well. Won West Coast Trials before. Looked really good, really dominant in the wrestling factor. Very, very excited to see how he looks. We have Devonta Johnson, and they kind of in flow. They mentioned, like, he doesn't have a ton of ADCC experience, but
he goes to Unity.
But he's also been in the room with Murillo.
Yeah,
and Murillo's been ADCC, and
Unity is just a whole nother animal. To go up there to handle to do well there is very difficult.
Well, and Murillo has been at ADCC, and he's Devontae's coach. Like, he's going to go unprepared, and the Unity guy,
Murillo
him
was
and Ocasio.
77?
I always mess up Murillo's weight.
I think he's like 77.
I always put him way smaller than
he
is, and he's a bigger guy. I think he might be 88.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Murillo's a bigger dude.
So it might be a good replacement. Not replacement, but
Devonta has just looked tenacious in Nogi recently. His
Worlds
Worlds
run was good.
And his cardio and his gas, he can hit guys so hard with that gas tank. Again, being at 99, very curious to see how a lot of folks can deal with that. Also, in the over 99 kilogram division, we have John Hansen and we have Joe Bays. Joe Bays.
Joe Bays, man.
Joe
Everybody
Bays is the
knows Joe
most
Bays.
consistent dude in jiu-jitsu.
Dude,
he's
Joe
gonna
Bays,
pull, he's
you
gonna
ju-
get your leg on his chest, and he's gonna outside heel hook you, or he's gonna go for the knee
You
bar.
see Joe Bays just walk out, and you're like, what is this? What is going to happen here?
Heel hook.
I mean,
he's gonna try to heel hook you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. After doing this a while, like you watch the way he walks, and you're like, he's a heel hooker because he doesn't move like he's gonna wrestle. Like
Nope.
he's gonna just sit and freaking torque the hell out of your
and
foot.
you watch him do it. Like I love watching Joe Bays. I've gone this big range before where it's like, I know it's the same thing. And then after a couple years, I was
he's
like,
very good at
bro, I
what he
respect
does.
you for the thing he does.
And
Like
and it's an old school technique.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any kind of new school movement. He does this old school.
He does knee on the chest, turns you over. When you commit to one side, he gets on his hip, he pushes you there, and he heel hooks you.
Yeah.
And he does it to a lot of people. Like, again, we've seen him get stuffed before against high-level guys.
Yeah.
But if you let him get your heel, he can finish.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's again, dude is a specialist.
We're
when it
just
comes to
gonna
that outside heel hook.
be able to watch him walk, and we're like, that's Joe Bays.
Yeah. I'm super.
'Cause
I have to like get my nerves in
Yeah.
check to be as much of a fan as I'm going to be at this
Yeah.
event. Because again, it's still for
It's
me,
gonna-
even
it-
after
yeah.
years of doing this, still super exciting to see everyone there. Like, these guys are
I'm
ready
probably
to go.
gonna be like standing beside people and just like, I'll not.
Miranda,
be
you
able
can
to
you
say
can
anything.
embarrass us. So
I will. Don't worry. I will be in the embarrassment.
that's who we have now.
I'll just wind up saying
something.
something super awkward
Please don't
to
do
him,
that.
just because that's how I am.
So I'm super amped and excited for
Yeah.
trials.
It's gonna be amazing.
Next week we're gonna leave Friday. We're doing the rules seminar. We'll do
Yep.
shows Saturday. Follow the grappling around on social media. If you don't, I'm gonna try to post more stuff,
Yeah.
just like straight up camera pictures, like from there with potentially if we can do interviews. We don't. We're still working on some credentialing stuff for this one, but regardless, we're gonna do some coverage at the event
I don't
in
know
whatever capacity that
And
is.
I haven't heard a video policy.
No video.
'Cause I know.
No video.
I know. That's the
So
problem.
we'll figure it out. Again, I have
Yeah.
the nice new camera.
Yeah.
We can probably catch them outside.
Yes.
On the street for interviews like that, but
Inside the casino, maybe interview people as they play the
we
casino.
certainly can't have cameras inside the casino.
Oh yeah, true.
It's
Can't do that either.
certainly, I knew
Fuck,
that ahead of
man.
time. Yeah,
Forgot about that.
We'll figure it out. But regardless, we're going to cover it in full, and I'm absolutely ecstatic to be going to the trials.
Yep, it's
and
gonna be a great time.
It's going to be a great time. That's what we have for the week. That's what
Yep.
Miranda and I are prepping for. I have to cut out more foam for my case for this new camera. I have to get everything to pack so we can
stuff.
leave Friday morning to get up there in time to go to the referees seminar. And then I need to watch that rules video at least 2 or 3 more times. And then I need to take some more notes to think anything that I have questions about, throw it to the Grappling Rewind chat to make sure we have clarifications so that we can go to the rules seminar. And if I do have, for some reason, a lingering question still, I can make sure it's answered effectively. And then come back to the podcast and be able to fully explain everything we see for the future for ADCC. You got anything else planned this weekend?
Sounds good to me. Nope. This is Sunday. I have a full week of work.
Yep.
Actually, not. I took off Friday, but
I took off Friday too, and Monday. I took off Monday too. So I was
Did
just like,
you really?
Yeah, I took off Monday.
I should probably take off Monday
have
because
hundreds of hours of
we're
time
gonna
off.
come back and be like, not want to function.
That's why I took off Monday because I was
I
like,
know, I
because I
should.
knew I'm gonna have a ton of stuff to edit. I'm gonna have a bunch of stuff to put out for
know,
Grappling Rewind, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm taking the day. I earned it
Yeah, we'll see.
because it'll be like the most stressful weekend ever of just note taking.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for it.
Yep.
So all
It's
right.
gonna be a good time.
Well, as always in the show, I'm your host Maine, to my co-host,
Miranda.
and we are the Grappling Rewind. See you on that, whatever that is. Stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google Plus,
Until that shuts down.
we have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.